So, so now we're going to get into the whole custom fitting process. So if you want to start us off with that one, Garth?
Yeah, sure. But I want to show you both, just how kind of the tracing and the measuring goes.
Okay.
And then I'll show you kind of the new tech that we've got now.
Sure.
Kind of.
Okay, Trav, so shoes and socks off, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to do a kind of a quick trace here of what somebody at home would do, or what I would typically do with NHL players up until say about a month and a half ago, and I'll show you the other process. But really, what we're trying to do is, if you put your foot down here for me on that, and just put your knee kind of just so I get that kind of at that 90-degree perfect. So what we do in our process was we really wanted like a 2D look of how your foot lays out. So what we would have customers do is we trace it on a paper like this. And what this allows us to do is essentially start building that skate in the shape of that foot. And we have them mark off where their ankle bones are. So this is a process that people can do at home. So we want to know essentially where the ankle bones are. And then we'd ask them to take some cell phone pictures of the instep so we can see how the arch lays out. So an instep here, we'd ask them to put a tape measure in it. If they've got a spot that bugs them, I happen to have a spot right here that's called navicular area. So we'd ask them to mark that with a pen and then give us that measurement right here. It's 45 millimeters above. Just so that we can then map that out and we customize a last for you. And then the process then that's different from other skates in the way that they're made, is that we build the skate from the inside out. So we would then start with that customized last that's built with your navicular bone sticking out, or whatever the case may be. And then we build it from the inside out. So then we put the liner over that, and then the layerings of carbon fiber go over that. So now you end up with a vessel that's in the shape of your foot. And as I said before, what makes this really special, and this process is kind of hard to screw up because you're not worried about a millimeter or two. You're more interested in getting the shapes and the nuances. You're interested in getting the width of that foot. And as long as we can build that, and then the heat moldability process is where it really gets dialed in and customized. So that's the process that still works very well. We get orders from all over the world like that. We don't have a ton of fit centers out there, so if you're lucky enough to be in an area where you can get fitted, there's a couple here in Winnipeg, Play It Again Sports, Royal Sports. In other areas, there's a few in Toronto and different areas. We don't really take fits at the factory anymore. I mean, we're truly just building skates there, so we require those to come in. But
and just to kind of touch on real quickly, to give you guys at home an idea of how big VH has gotten, Garth was telling me over the phone last week, he had an office at VH. His office is no longer there. They've gotten so busy. His office is a production line now.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean that we're big, but it's just that what's happened is our small factory's gotten just a little bigger because they've gotten rid of my office. But that's good. That's a good thing. And like I said, I even have NHL guys that have been sending me in their tracings and measurements because they could be in a geography where it's a high cost for us to get to them, and they understand, and they'll send this in or have somebody help them send it in. It's easier to do that. So that's kind of a really quick and dirty. Again, that can be seen on vhfootwear.com under videos, and that process of kind of what we need for information. But let's show the guys and gals what kind of the future is looking like, or well, the future's kind of now for some of us here.
This is going to be cool for you guys at home.
Yeah, we think it's cool. We've got a 3D scanning apparatus. So what I'm going to do, Travis, get you to come up here.
I can get my foot off here?
Yeah, take your foot off that paper. Okay, so what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to do essentially the same thing, but we're going to do it with using technology.
Okay.
So what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to take your right foot here and put it right in the middle of this platform. I'm going to get you to step back with your left, and then take this knee and put it over your toes, and then hold that pose for me, almost in just a bit of a lunge here. And I'm going to go around and take a 3D scan of your foot, and you'll see how kind of quickly I can do it, and it gives me the same information that we would then get from tracing some measurements.
So kind of like this?
And I'll come around and the camera will see what I'm doing.
This is good?
You're in pretty good shape right there. Are you going to be able to hold that?
I sure hope so. Otherwise, we might have a problem here.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to put in Travis Ridgeton. Okay, and what you'll see, I'll just show the camera here that we've got our own app here that we've developed. Okay, I'm going to save that information, and now I'm going to go forth and I'm going to measure his right foot. So what it's going to do is allow me to scan. Okay, and the camera will see as I come around. I'll try. Okay, are you holding her still for me?
Try my best.
All right, hang in there. So this is a very similar type scanner, the one that Scott has been using in speed skating for many, many years. There are reasons why that type of scanning didn't work for hockey skates, but now we've been able to develop some software that helps us do it. And so what I'm getting now, and I'm going to go in front of the camera, sorry guys. Hopefully you can see some of that. I'm going very slowly here. I'm going to get that entire. Okay, so what I've got now.
So I can.
Yep, you're good now. You can relax. So what I've got now is I've gotten Travis's foot. So that whole concept of doing the tracing before has now shown up here. So I've now got a tracing of his foot, right? And I can say done. And what it's now done is I now have a file for Travis. And we're going to do the same thing on the left foot.
Okay.
Okay, so up with the left foot. There we go, and I'm going to start from the instep here. You're good in that position? You're
Yep.
okay, comfy? Okay, hold it still as you can. Uh-oh. There you go. Technology is wonderful when it works, right?
Technical difficulties.
Oh, just kind of wadded out on me. We'll start again.
So this app is pretty cool, but the folks at home, they can't download this from the App Store, can they?
No, it's something that has to work in conjunction with the scanner that we've built. So some of our fit centers, some of our larger ones have been kind of piloting this for us right now. So it's kind of cool. It's getting out there a little bit. Again, it's something we've only had for the last couple of months. Been working on it for quite some time before that. It's been a pretty intense technological set of work that Scott's done with some software developers to be able to get this. And it's more about getting the information we need. Okay, you can relax. So I don't know if you even saw the first one, but it gives us kind of all that info we need. It shows us all those nuances where there's a little bit of a gap here that shows how your arch is laying out, so your arch is nice.
Okay.
Okay, done. And then what I also like to do is no different than when somebody does kind of the manual process. It's great for us to see some pictures. So I'm going to get you to put the foot back up again.
Same pose?
Yeah, same pose. And I'm going to take pictures. Now, do you have any trouble spots? Like you look like you got a pretty pronounced ankle bone there.
Yeah.
But doesn't really give you too much trouble.
Not that I can
Doesn't
think
look
of.
red or anything. So what I'll do is I'll typically take a couple photos, then we can see back at the factory your arch lays out really nice. So you use that one. If there was an issue that you expressed, say your ankle bone, I could then go in here and mark it for my guys. It's now in your folder. But at any rate, you don't have that issue. So I'm just going to keep that. And again, now we get a sense of what your arch looks like. So that's kind of the scanning technology, and it's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome, man. All right, so that's the scanning technology. So what next?
That's it. That's what I need.
That's all you need.
Now I'm going to ask you some questions in terms of you know the size and length of your current steel, and if you want color options and things like that. But that's in terms of measuring you. That's what it is now. So it's become pretty simple for me.
Awesome. That is insane. That is crazy. And you cannot download it on the App Store, for those of you wondering.
No, not yet. But we hope to, and sometime, and then people be able to use, some level of scanner with it, with their iPhone or whatever the case may be. It's coming.
Awesome. It's coming in the future.
In the future.